My name is Faxon Male, and as the graduate program director, it gives me a lot of pleasure and enthusiasm to welcome each of you to Surgical and Interventional Sciences, which was formerly known as experimental surgery. So as we proceed, you see that we'll be using surgical and interventional sciences and experimental surgery interchangeably. Eventually, we'll use surgical and interventional sciences. So you are stepping onto a transformative path at one of the world's premier institutions. And within our department, you find an environment where you will be nurtured, you will be you'll be challenged and presented with unparalleled opportunities for both personal and academic growth. So as you begin this fresh chapter, I wish to reiterate our warm welcome to McGill. We are thrilled and honored to accompany you on your journey towards reaching success. So let us harness the most out of this golden opportunity. Now, before we proceed further, we have a few words from our esteemed chair, Dr. Leanne Feldman.
They do in research and in education. I think there's a ton of exciting projects going on that to get involved in, as well as getting involved in student life and making the most out of this opportunity on the next step of your training and development towards what I'm sure will be rewarding and so I'm always available by email if you have questions, but I know that we have great resources in Professor Mwale, Professor Baralat, and all the program leads and professors that we have involved in the program, as well as all of our staff, many of whom you see participating today. So congratulations again, and I wish you all the best in your studies.
So that was from our chair, Dr. Leanne Feldman. Our next speaker is the Associate Chair of Research, Surgical Innovation Director, Dr. Jake Bartlett. Is he here? Okay, I think we should move on. So a few words from the Associate Dean for Medical Science, Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs, Dr. Amy Ryan.
Hi, and I am here. So I really, really want to welcome you all to this new start of the new year. For many of you, this is your sort of first step into graduate studies and research. And we're really thrilled to have you as students, trainees in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. So just so you know, you're among over 2,000 master's and PhD students that are roughly separated equally between PhD programs, master's thesis programs, and master's non-thesis programs. So there's a big world of graduate students around you here in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. I really want to say that our vision for you is that you're really embarking on a new adventure, a time that should be filled with discovery. And our vision is really that you're going to do this in supportive learning environments that really are going to be working with you to help you achieve your potential and as well achieve your goals that are going to leave you prepared to take on new challenges as you leave for both academic and non-academic careers once you leave our research groups. We're really pleased and excited to have you here as members of our research team, where you're going to be creating new knowledge and translating that into, I guess, surgical and interventional sciences as it moves forward. I want to congratulate the program on a sort of an exciting new name that I think really speaks to the type of research being done in this environment, in this graduate program. So remember to take advantage to everything that your program, that McGill can offer you to help really develop you into scientists. Try to stay balanced. It's not always easy during these times, and to stay connected both with your research groups and with others around you. And that I think that that aspect of well-being can really serve you well as you move forward in your research programs, and can make you even more productive as students. And so my door is always open. If there is ever anything that you feel is sort of beyond the department, or you need someone else to talk to, you can always send me an email, and I can help you find the right person to talk to. And that's, I was going to mention a few other things, but I see our local wellness advisor is also here, and she'll be covering those. So welcome again. I hope you have an amazing start and an amazing journey through this program, whether it's, 18 months or 60 months. I hope that it all goes well and that you really enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ryan. Our next speaker is the Associate Dean, Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. And Lauren, thank you very much for all the help that you've been giving the student and us. Lauren.
You're muted, Lorraine.
Yeah, I know. I muted myself so fast. You'd think we'd be onto these things by now. But anyway, I want to echo Amy's, beginning that, welcome to this. And I think you have to remember a couple of important things. One is that you chose McGill, good for you, and you chose your supervisor. And by the way, your supervisor chose you too, right? So this should be a dialogue between the two of you. You should be working together as much as possible. And, you should respect each other and enjoy each other's expertise and their experience in the field. Make sure that you take everything you can from your supervisor, the goods. Maybe there's some bads, but you can deal with those. Probably you're pretty resilient. In any case, there's lots of help at McGill for this. If I could just share my screen for one thing, I'd like to do that, if that's possible. And, I think you can talk to, can I share my screen now? Disable share screen. Okay, so I really would like, because I have a QR that I would like to show the students that talks to a lot of the help that's involved with students. Keep Me Safe is some of them. You're members of PGSS, so you can talk to people there. There's a wellness advisor, which you're going to talk about here, there's one specifically for graduate students. So make use of these lovely programs. And there's many other programs which are available to you, because graduate life is a bit hard. You might as well know from the get-go that, there's going to be times when you doubt yourself. There's going to be times when you doubt your supervisor. Why am I here, for God's sakes? What did I do to myself to deserve this? But those are going to be bumps in the road. And I think that overall, you're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to grow in your science. You're going to grow as you see people and interact with people in your lab, in your group, in your department, as you go to conferences and things like this. So I think, you'll have, in the end, a great time. So I just want to share this one. Yes, I do want to do that here. Here. Okay, this is the one I would like to share. I hope you can, let me know that you can see it. And this QR code will link you, and you can just take a picture of it right now. It's downloadable on your phone, and you can then have access to all of the help services that McGill has, because they have a lot. And the idea is that you might as well have access to them. In some aspects, you're paying for them, so you might as well use them. And just to make sure that your environment and that your well-being is the best. What Dr. Muwali wanted me to talk about was ChatGPT, which I'm calling the elephant in the room. Clearly, it's going to be important. I think students will think about using it. I think you have to be very careful in that. You should look at any of the instructions that you have in a syllabus of your courses. Is this allowed or not allowed? Make sure that you know if it's allowed, if your instructor is going to do anything about that. You can use it, I think, as a tool. You can use it to help you make better sentences, to make better paragraphs, to use it as your spell checker. It cannot do your thinking for you. It should not be doing your thinking for you. And for a lot of publications and journals, they do not allow ChatGPT. So don't get used to it from the get-go. So that is what I wanted you to talk about with ChatGPT, is that everyone knows it makes mistakes. Don't use it and then get caught for making some horrible mistake. A classic is it makes up references, it makes up, it can combine a journal with a journal title with an author that do not belong to each other. It thinks this is fine. Unless you go and search, you may end up wasting a lot of time with it. But, if you want to use it to help your writing skills, that's fine. Graphos, which is a McGill and an award-winning group, actually does a better job of helping you, with your writing. So consider talking with them too. So bottom line is we want you to stay happy and healthy and have an outstanding scientific and academic time at McGill. We think that you're entered into a terrific department. There's lots of people to help you out here should you find something, that is of concern, but that's going to be a rarity. Go for it. I'm envious of you to be starting in here. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shalifo. So I wanted to introduce our graduate program office. Laura, next slide. Yeah, so you have interacted with some of our team. We have Misha Hyun, who is the program administrator. We've got Sharon, who is the graduate program coordinator. And we've got Laura Epu, who is the administrative student affairs coordinator. And behind the scenes, we've got Terry, who's been helping with the multimedia and the website, etc. And we've got Dr. Michael Grant, who's helping with the seminar series. So you hear some words from Dr. Grant about the seminar series, which everyone should attend the seminar series. You will learn a lot by hearing research from other people, and you get some ideas instead of just staying in your comfort zone. Next we'll hear from Sharon, and Sharon's going to tell us about important things to do.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. So these are the things that you really need to know. You need to check on Minerva that all your required documents have been sent to Service Point, which will complete your file. Also, pay your tuition fees on time. This will be to avoid any late charges. Course registration dates and add drop period. That's the link there you can go to find out those dates. Also, you need to complete your direct deposit information on Minerva, which is important for any funds and awards that you may be receiving at McGill. Check our experimental surgery website and your emails regularly. They're for important notices. You also need to apply for some studentships, as indicated there. And the completion of the academic integrity tutorial on my courses. You should probably see, you will most likely see a notice of this on your transcript if it has not been completed. So you can have a look there, please. And for contacting you, we will contact you through your McGill email only, and would really be helpful if in the subject line you included your McGill ID number. You need to register for each term. Even if you've completed your courses, you need to be registered full-time up to and including your term of graduation. And you can see here below in the chart that the minimum and maximum time in each program for the master's and PhD. If you exceed these maximum times, your status will be changed to time limitation, which will block you from registering. So it's important to keep this timeline. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Laura, and I'm one of the administrative coordinators of the department. I'm going to start the overview of our programs, and we're going to start with the non-thesis Master of Science directed by Dr. Moale. The program is based primarily on academic courses, and short projects provides opportunity for training in specific areas such as global surgery, innovation, and education. The program consists of 45 credits. 12 credits must be obtained from required courses. For this reason, we advise you to register as these courses first. You also have to complete 24 credits of complementary courses and 9 credits of elective. A full list of these courses can be found on the e-calendar at the link below. One of the important required courses, it's 623, that it's one semester research project. For this course, the involvement of a curriculum director and advisor is required. Please check the list of available projects and the list of curriculum directors. Depending on on your interest, you will be assigned to an advisor and the project. There are 2 evaluation forms that will be filled by your advisor, the one below. These forms are available on our non-thesis MSc program webpage. We invite you to consult these forms and acknowledge how you will be evaluated. Now, I'm gonna give some advices regarding this course. It's mandatory for non-thesis students. Takes 1 semester, and we encourage students to complete it in their first year. Can't be replaced with 622. The non-thesis students must complete the EXO 623 project first, and then the EXO 622 project if they wish to do both. Being dedicated to the non-thesis stream, its credits cannot be transferred to the thesis stream. Now, Dr. Boale will present the overview of other programs that we have.
Thank you very much, Laura. So we offer graduate level training programs in leading to PhD, masters, and surgical innovation. We also offer graduate diploma or certificate degrees, which Dr. Barrett is going to talk about later. So the PhD and masters core program stream graduate programs, these have long been recognized as one of the strongest training programs in the area of surgical research in Canada. And we have such a great reputation for training some of the most well-known research leaders in surgical research. Now, at the master's level, in addition to the core surgical and interventional sciences stream, those who are interested have the opportunity to choose concentration. So we have very exciting concentrations, as you see there. We have surgical innovation, surgical education, global surgery. We have got the master's surgery in oncology. And we have got a new one, surgical outcomes, which Dr. Fiore will talk about later. Next slide. Now, there is a progress tracking that you should be aware of. First, you will be assigned an advisory chairperson, and this will be done by the department. And then you will select a minimum of 2 additional committee members. And the arrangement of the meetings that you'll be having, this is a responsibility of you and your supervisor. So you should make use of the committee because they are there as your resource. They are there to help you. And the committee monitors the progress of your project and give you some feedback. So it's important that you work with the committee. Now, the first meeting it must be held within 3 months. So before the end of the year, make sure that you have the first meeting. And for the future meetings, you're required to meet with your full advisory committee. And so make sure you have a minimum of once a year until you graduate. And you can find the forms at that website. Next. Now, if all goes well, you are going to submit your thesis. And so your thesis is submitted via My Thesis. And this is a website that you will later get familiar with, and make sure that your thesis is submitted at least 4 to 8 weeks prior, and make sure that you are aware of these deadlines. Next slide. Now, I just wanted to say a few words about these 45 credits. This is for the core stream. So you have 45 credits. How do you get to 45 credits? You have, to the left, you have got the thesis courses, which is 30 credits. So you're left with 45 credits. And these 45 credits, you have the required courses, which are two. One is the knowledge management 2, which are 3 credits. And then you can choose a start course, another 3 credits, gives you 6 credits. And then you get 9 credits from the complementary courses. So these are things you can discuss with your committee, with your supervisor, which courses are relevant to your research, etc. Next slide. Now, you can fast track to a PhD from a master's. And so these are just some steps to fast track. Your supervisor sends a letter of intent to the GPD, that's me, and you can notify the coordinator, Sharon, and then you submit an application on Slate to fast track. And so what happens is that the GPC will provide an override that exempts you from submitting the required documents and application fees. So this is very important. Now, after successful completion of the fast track exams, make sure you notify the coordinator, Sharon in this case, and then we move your file towards admissions. Now, the other thing that you have to take note is that admission deadlines apply to fast track. So make sure that you are aware of this. Next slide. So the fast tracking as an eligibility, we want strong students. We look for students who have a CGPA of 3.5 or higher. And we want to see that there's some strong potential for success of the research that they are doing. And that there's a completion of a minimum of 2 full-time terms in the master's, and up to a maximum of 4 full-time terms. So between 2 and 4 full-time terms. Next. Now, just some details about the committee and the exam. I'm sure it won't make sense now, but later on, so you can be able to look back and see what is involved. So in a fast track, you have an exam committee, you have the supervisor, you have the members of your research advisory committee, and you have 2 additional members. And so for the exam, so this is organized by you and your supervisor in consultation with your research advisory committee. Basically, what you do is you submit a progress report to the transfer exam committee at least 2 weeks before the scheduled exam. In terms of the exam format, you have 20 minutes presentations. And so this is followed by a question period. Next. So just wanted to say a few words about the PhD. So a PhD must constitute original scholarship and must be a distinct contribution to knowledge. And this is very important. Now, there's one characteristic of the PhD trajectory, next slide, that it requires this comprehensive exam, the XU 700. So that's added. Everyone has to pass who's going to go through the PhD. Next slide. Now, so this has to be taken within 36 months of enrollment in the PhD program. And if you fast tracked, it's about 24 months. Now, in terms of the exam committee, you have the research advisory committee, plus 2 to 3 additional members and chaired by your committee chairperson. So it normally takes around 2 hours. And you, in terms of grading, you need to receive a pass grade on both components of the exam in order. So basically, there are two components of the exam that you have to pass. And after you complete the exam, you inform Sharon, the coordinator, and you confirm that McGill records reflect that you passed this comprehensive exam. Next slide. Now, what you do in the exam, the format, basically there are two parts. There's a review of the progress that you made in the research project. So it takes, you present between 20 and 30 minutes for a presentation. So this is followed by a period of questions. And then the second part is a critical assessment of a research article in the field. So the way you select this article is that you and your supervisor choose 3 to 4 recent articles, and then you submit them to your advisory committee. And then the advisory committee chairperson, in consultation with the exam committee members, select one of these papers for the assignment that consists of 2 parts: a written report, which you submit 10 to 14 days prior to the exam, and 20 to 30 minute oral presentation of the article, followed by a period of questions. Next slide. Dr. Jack Bartlett is going to talk about digital health innovation. Dr. Bartlett, is Dr. Bartlett here? Okay. Okay, so I will continue. So basically, in digital health innovation, this is quite very new, and it's very, very fascinating concentration. And as you can see there, it has got those requirements, the 30 credits again. And then you have the other required courses, which include principles of clinical research, real-world applications of data science, etc. And you have AI in medicine, which are very, very interesting courses. And you get an idea of the digital health. Wow. Next slide. So you have this is the thesis and surgical innovation, which Dr. Bright and I coordinate. And so you have got, again, you have got those 30 credits, and you have some required courses, the 619, the hospital environment, surgical innovation, and surgical innovation 2. So one of the features of this is that this is experiential learning, and this is innovation. We have had successful over the years. We have had students who are still generated needs from this, and we have got a couple of companies that are still running that are emanated from surgical innovation. So this is a very interesting, and it's a different paradigm from a lot of the courses, because here you're not running after an A. You learn about entrepreneurship, you learn about business. Next slide. So there is the certificate version, which has those requirements of surgical innovation. If all you're interested in is going for the hospital environment, surgical innovation, and also get a bit of statistics, but you are more focused on the entrepreneurship, the experiential learning part of things. Next. And we also have the diploma version of it. So next slide. So for surgical oncology, so this is the new, it's quite very new, and you can get a master's non-thesis in experimental surgery, basically in surgical oncology. So we have got this very interesting thing where you can do the stackable master's non-thesis, and you can get a diploma, for example, in oncology. And then you can get a certificate in surgical innovation, get 30 credits plus 15, you get your 45 credits. And then we have got another option too, which is master's, not in which you can go straight for the oncology concentration. So this is an exciting approach in the sense that you can get your master's by stacking so it's called a stackable master's version. Next.
Thanks, Dr. Moy. So surgical education is all about having a better understanding and improving training of educational and training in educational environments. This can include technology, simulation, and also psychological and well-being variables in the environment, because all of these things influence and can help us innovate in terms of how we go about teaching and learning and training in surgical and other health professions environments. As you can see, for the thesis, there's a number of thesis credits like the other courses there. There's 2 required courses at the moment. Surgical Education Foundations is a course that I teach. Teaching and Learning Higher Education is a course offered at the Faculty of Education. And then there's a number of complementary courses. As I think was possibly covered a little bit earlier, there's also a non-thesis surgical education program. I'm not sure whether that's the next slide. Might be.
No, we don't have that slide, Dr. Harley.
Okay, that's fine. The non-thesis programs, basically there's, as Dr. Moy or someone else may have mentioned, there's concentration directors for different programs there. If you're interested in doing a project that has to do with training, with learning, and improving these things in a surgical context, then please feel free to email me in addition to getting in contact with others to help you identify a non-thesis research project in this area. As the director of this program, I would look at and evaluate the project or the final write-up of the project before it would go to Dr. Mwale for his final approval.
So thank you very much, Dr. Harley. Dr. Fiore will join us at the end. Is Dr. Fiore here? Okay.
No, he's not here, but he sent us a recording.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Giulio Fiore. I'm a surgical outcomes researcher and assistant professor here in the Department of Surgery, and I'm currently the director of our thesis program with concentration on surgical outcomes research, and one of the curriculum directors of the non-thesis master's program. This short presentation will be highly focused on our thesis program, but I'm sure that the information provided will also be very useful for students in the non-thesis program. As I mentioned, I'll be talking about our master's concentration focus on surgical outcomes research. And in case you wonder what I mean by that, surgical outcomes research is an emerging field of research focused on the results or consequences of surgical and perioperative care interventions. And our mission with this master's concentration is to offer students world-class training in surgical outcomes research, and also to provide the knowledge and skills required for students to start a successful career as a surgical outcomes scientist or clinician scientist. So why is this program so important and so exciting? According to data from the WHO, over 300 million surgeries are conducted in hospitals around the world every year. And although surgery is recognized to be an essential component of healthcare, complications and post-operative morbidity are quite common, occurring approximately 15% of all the patients undergoing major surgery. And very importantly, a very large proportion of these complications are considered to be preventable by optimizing perioperative care. And also, as you can imagine, post-operative complications pose a major burden to the healthcare system, with studies suggesting an up to 5-fold increase in costs compared to patients without complications. So in response to these very grim statistics, the WHO deems that improving the quality and safety of surgical care is a global public health concern. And of course, given this concern, there is an increasing need for robust research aimed to assess and improve the outcomes of surgical patients. And also, there is a growing demand for researchers who are skilled in the design, conduct, and critical appraisal of studies focused on surgical outcomes. So our master's concentration really capitalizes on this emerging field as it is tailored to the training needs of future surgical outcomes researchers. In terms of our program content, our master's program has a total of 45 credits. 33 of these credits are through required courses, including all the 30 thesis credits, as well as 3 credits coming from a new course named Surgical Outcomes Research Foundations. In addition to these mandatory courses, students also complete 12 credits of complementary courses. At least 6 of these credits are acquired through courses on research methods and biostatistics, which are, of course, key subjects in the field of surgical outcomes research. And the program also includes 6 credits of elective courses, where students can pursue specific knowledge that is relevant to their graduate projects. Now, I'll just take a minute to focus on our course, Surgical Outcomes Research Foundations, which is one of the pillars of our concentration. This course is offered every winter and is directed by myself and by Dr. Chelsea Gillis, who's an outcomes researcher from the Department of Anesthesia. And the content of this course is focused on traditional and modern approaches to measure surgical outcomes, and also on contemporary strategies to improve post-operative recovery. A list of our specific lectures are displayed here on the screen. And as you can see, this course is not only taught by us, but we also have many internationally renowned guest lectures. And as I mentioned, this course is mandatory for students in the Surgical Outcomes thesis program. But of course, the course is open to students in the non-thesis stream and also to students from other concentrations who wish to take this course as an elective. So to finalize, I just wish to welcome you all to the Experimental Surgery Graduate Program, and I really look forward to working together. Thank you.
So that's wonderful. So Dr. Fiore will be here in the breakout rooms. So if you have any questions, he'll be there to address them. And so the next speaker is from Global Surgery, and that is Dr. Razek. And he couldn't join us, but he...
Thank you so much. Yeah, so thank you for this. And so I'll do a very brief overview of the Master of Science in Experimental Surgery thesis track in global surgery. It's an exciting field, so and I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just really rapidly review the main areas of focus that we tend to look at for the students who come into this and what the thesis tends to entail. You can see here the course element is very similar to the previous ones that have been described, where there's 30 credits that are core with 9 required courses as part of this, and a complementary courses that can total 6 credits. So that's the course structure for the program. Our work tends to focus on developing healthcare systems globally, looking at mostly and most importantly at our own in the Canadian context and remote areas in Canada, but also looking at an international spectrum of the developing infrastructure for complex healthcare system design and development, focusing on surgical systems of care, but really the focus is even more broad than this. It's looking on emergency systems of care and critical access care. So things from pre-hospital to emergency department to critical care and operating room contexts and trauma programs. Which represent, unfortunately, a very significant burden of disease when you look at the global spectrum of burden of disease, resulting in the most common causes of death for everyone under the age of 50 globally. just looking at injury alone. So our programs tend to have three pillars of focus in terms of what our students look at in their thesis work. One of them is in academics and research in the design of healthcare system development. One of them is teaching and training as part of a comprehensive system of healthcare system development and how we enhance the robustness of teaching and training paradigms. And the other one is health policy and administration and economics, and how we then take that information from the academic and research and the teaching and training side and build strong policy structures that help environments develop more structured healthcare system design and implementation, looking at how they perform. So we have in the academic and research side, we tend to look at database developments and implementation of better data acquisition systems for nascent healthcare system and complex healthcare system infrastructure. And we do that both with trauma systems, critical care systems, and operating room systems. And we help generate that data flow and using our own IT infrastructure to help support teams to do that globally, which is tends to be quite a powerful tool and result in an awful lot of data acquisition, which then requires a lot of work to understand and analyze and interpret what that means in terms of the current spectrum of the lay of the land for the healthcare system that's currently in place, and looking at gaps and areas for improvement on how we can better design the flow of healthcare services to meet the needs of different populations in different contexts. And we, of course, look at that within our own context here in the Canadian system, both in our urban, rural, and remote areas, which can provide some tremendous challenges in how we deliver services and how we organize services. So we use that data to generate an outlay of the descriptive analytics of the needs of the communities that we're in, which wherever that may be, but also looking at what the infrastructure is to support those needs, and then looking at what the outcomes are for what is implemented. So that's the sort of a three perspective view of how we work with the data acquisition systems and analysis to look at that. And it matches very nicely with what Julia was talking about outcomes and performance, because we also overlap into that area of work, obviously looking at the performance and some of the global health indicators from the Lancet Commission, for example, and how we perform both in a very highly resourced environment like our own, but also in some very low resource environments. We also look at implementing teaching and training programs to support and augment the infrastructure there to develop capacity to perform in those systems. And that can be all the way from the non-clinician level or non-medical personnel level, and all the way up to a PhD type of support to develop programs in other parts of the world to collaborate with our teams to develop their education and training infrastructure systems using some design courses, but also working together collaboratively to help them implement train-the-trainer programs to improve the capacity for those local contexts to do better training themselves and become more independent in that capacity to do so. And we tend to do all of that work, both the data and academics and research, plus the teaching and training components, with many, many partners. So our core responsibility is with our own work in the Canadian context, and we obviously examine that very carefully within the same program structure, but we work with other teams and other champions in local contexts around the world who are trying to do the same things in their own context, and we lend a supporting hand and a collaborative working context to partner with other teams trying to do the same things in their own environments, but where they may lack tremendously either the financial or the human resources to do it to the degree that they would like to do it. So we support their teams looking at the same things in their own context, and in so we develop a knowledge base that provides a huge geographic picture of what is happening in the world in the design of healthcare systems to meet these emergency and critical care needs. So we work with partners in East and West Africa with about 14 countries in those environments, from all the way from academic centers in partnership to ministries of health, where we collaborate with them, and sometimes collaboratively with the WHO on some of our projects. We do some work in Eastern Europe, notably in the Ukraine right now, for example, and we continue with our work with our colleagues in the Ukraine that we've been doing for more than 10 years, even in their certain circumstances, which make it even more germane, focusing on how they develop and deploy emergency care systems in the context that they find themselves in, unfortunately. And we also do work in Southeast Asia with several partners, most notably in Nepal and Thailand. And we also have projects and programs in Latin America, in Central and South America, with several colleagues working at different ministries and different academic institutions in those contexts. So we have a wide array of partners that we collaborate with, looking at the same stream of investigative analytics and data acquisition and teaching and training research, and how we deploy and develop and maintain and analyze the performance of these complex health systems. And the policy side is much more complex, and it tends to be more at the PhD level, but we try to take all of that, and where we have enough of that information, try to coalesce that into policy support at the PhD level in the program. So that's a really rapid whirlwind tour of the work that we do within in the global surgery stream. And if anybody ever has any questions at any time, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I'll help to supplement that at any time for anybody who requires it. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you.
So Dr. Michael Grant is going to talk about medical technology internship and the summer, the seminar.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Molly. So making the transition from academia to industry can be quite a challenge for one. Our department offers an intense internship workshop to help you develop skills required to excel in the workforce. So these skills may include cross-cultural and cross-disciplinary communication, teamwork, time management, and project management. This course is composed of two parts, EXO S501 and 502, each comprising a total of 6 credits, which you can enroll in. There are no prerequisites required to enroll in these courses. Once enrolled, you will get paired with one of our participating companies. The course is full-time and will require you to present yourself at the company's place of business for approximately 37 hours a week and a total of 6 weeks. If you intend on taking both 501 and 502, no problem. You may wish to continue at the place of business, and this will comprise a total of 12 weeks. You'll be graded on your participation at the company, and at the end, you'll be required to submit a final report, which will be graded on. If anyone is interested or wants to know more, please feel free to attend the breakout rooms session at the end of this orientation. So I hope to see you there. Next slide. So as Dr. Wally mentioned alluded to earlier, our department does hold weekly seminars, and students are required, so it's compulsory for students to make the attendance. Attendance will be actually monitored, so all students will be checking for those who do attend. Our seminars take place every Tuesday from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And it'll be hosted by guest speakers presenting various topics over various disciplines. And in addition to the guest speakers, we'll also include typically a 10-minute presentation from one of the students from our department, which may or may not be you. To encourage participation at our seminar series, awards will be given to students who ask the most questions to the guest speakers throughout the term. As you can see here, our past awardees are demonstrated. Our seminar series will begin this year, September 19th, and it will be hosted by Dr. Joe Freed. So look forward to seeing you there.
So thank you very much, Dr. Grant. Ms. Jan Walker, is she here? Or we have a recording from her?
No,
I
I'm
think-
here.
Okay.
I'll just share my screen. Hello, everyone.
Okay, wonderful.
Just give me 30 seconds to make sure I do this right. Oh, I hate this. Sorry.
Okay.
There we go. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is how my day has gone, right? Welcome to McGill, and I'm here today to introduce to you graduate and postdoctoral studies graduate funding. So we have 4 major roles here in grad funding, and they're making sure that all funding information is available to our graduate students. And that includes funding for international students, federal provincial funding, sponsorships, internships. We keep fair and transparent adjudication processes of all our centrally administered fellowship and awards from GPS run competitions. We are able to assist in the development and modification of policies regarding graduate funding and student eligibility, both internally to McGill and with outside agencies. And always we're there to advocate for our students and support them with our voice. So there's 2 principal types of funding, internal and external. I'll begin with internal funding. This encompasses support distributed by the university coming from McGill Central Funds. Some internal funding opportunities require that you submit an application, but most, however, do not and are outlined for you in your funding letter at the time of admission. All PhD students receive a standardized funding letter, and you can find out more about them by following the link here or speaking with your graduate program coordinator. There may be employment opportunities in your unit, such as a research or teaching assistantship. Note that funds received for these are considered salary for employment and are subject to the corresponding union's collective agreements. Make sure that you speak with your graduate program coordinator for more information on that. Now, this image serves two purposes. It shows how internal funds from our central funds work, as all the monies come in at the top. They're allocated to faculties, then to each graduate program, and then to you in your funding letter. It also indicates how information flows. The information comes in and it gets filtered down to you. It's also the way you can receive information when you have questions. For any questions involving your graduate funding, please first contact your graduate program. If they're unable to help you, they will go further up to us and then we'll be able to respond to them. Now we have external funds. These are monies awarded to students from funding sources external to McGill. The most prominent, as you see here, are the Canadian federal tri-agencies and the provincial agencies as well. They both are offered at the master's and doctoral level. The federal agencies, as you can see, are eligible for Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and also include persons here under the Protected Persons Act. The process to apply for these is through your department. An online application is submitted by an applicant. Your department will then nominate you based on their quota to GPS, where GPS selection committees will make another selection and forward those selected to the agencies for final selection at the national level. The provincial agencies, however, do not have a pre-selection here at McGill. You will apply directly to the agency who make their decisions. Please note that the deadline for the master's and doctoral at the provincial level is the first week in October. And for the doctoral tri-agency, it is the 1st of October. Anyone who submits an application to one of the provincial agencies is required to send the application number to their unit. Make sure the foundations there are many other foundations or private enterprises that offer student support, especially in the health sciences. So please talk to your supervisor because they are a font of information for you. There are also travel awards. These can be external or internal funds. Most of them do require some type of application, and you can find more of those opportunities listed here at the web link listed here. Student webinars, most of them have already passed. However, the presentation slides are available through links on our Maximize My Chances webpage. Please also make sure that you check your email often. We know that students, as well as our offices, are being inundated right now with emails, but please do take the time to read your emails from McGill, from your unit. There could always be an opportunity there, and I'd hate to see you miss out on that. The one upcoming NSERC doctoral Q&A session is next week on the 14th. We encourage all doctoral students who are applying to NSERC to drop by that Q&A session. Come by with questions already. It's a very informative session that will be very helpful for you. The webinar for the Tri-Agencies Master's Award will be held on October 20th. The reason this is so late is because the Masters for the Tri-Agency Award deadline to submit is only in December 1. There are other opportunities for our international students than just the Quebec QR funding. By the way, the FRQ provincial funding is open to all citizenships. There is no longer a citizenship restriction to those funding, so we urge all our international students to take advantage of this opportunity and to apply. So in addition to the FRQ, we have sponsors. There could be a sponsorship for you. These are agreements between GPS and an international funding agency and would include co-funding from McGill. Sponsorships are restricted to incoming and first-year students and will usually cover your tuition, your international health insurance, and an annual living allowance. To see if we have a sponsorship agreement with an agency in your home country, please visit our website shown here, where you can find details on how to apply. Another way that international students are funded is through a differential fee waiver. Now, as you can see in this image, there is a huge difference between what our international student will pay compared to what our Quebec resident will pay. For at the PhD level, it's almost $15,000 more. So it is very much worth the time to verify if there is DFW offered through your country. DFWs come about from an agreement between the Quebec government and a foreign government. And you can find out if your country does have this agreement by going to the link listed here. Be aware the deadlines are very different from country to country, as are the ways to apply. So please check that out as soon as possible. It's never too early to think about opportunities to enrich your career. During your graduate studies, there are many opportunities to participate in an internship. An internship will help you explore opportunities in industry, and after graduation, will make your application stand out in the job market. I'll talk about the doctoral internship program in just the next slide. So doctoral students will dip their toe and explore opportunities outside of academia before diving into the workplace. As you can see, we are very proud of the doctoral internship program. 7 out of 10 of our interns are currently working in the same sector or field that they practice the intern in, as well as you can see 42% of our interns were later hired by the organization that they interned with. These numbers are extremely high. They're something, as I said, we're very proud of. So if academia is not the way you're headed, then please do take the time to contact our internships person, Alicia, and she can help you find an internship that will suit you. For doctoral students, you are eligible now to apply in course, so you no longer have to wait until you've submitted your thesis. And there's also internships available at the master's level, so please do take advantage of that. Getting paid, I think everybody has heard this by now. Make sure that if you have external funding, that you've spoken to your graduate program coordinator. If you have a tri-agency award from CIHR, SSHRC, or NSERC, please contact our office at graduatefunding.gps@mcgill.ca. Make sure you include your McGill ID number when you contact us, and let us know what award you have with a copy of your notice of award. Now, to avoid delays in your payment, please make sure that you are registered for any term that your award will cover before the start of that term. Internal award recipients must be registered for both fall and winter terms. Make sure to submit any and all documentation that's required to the appropriate office. Make sure that you've updated your banking information and a current current mailing address on Minerva. And go and visit our webpage, Getting Paid and Maintaining a Fellowship, to make sure you have all the instructions that are available in order to get paid on time. These are a list of funding web links that we will make sure that are available to you. There are other resources that have already been spoken about. Our Maximize My Chances webpage. Skill Sets have a wonderful Would You Fund It series. This is the PowerPoint slide that Dr. Shelley Ford shared with me so that I could put it in our slides as well. And I just wanted to also mention that, remember, you need to take care of yourself. And this is an overwhelming time for many of you. So please do take the time if you need to go and check out those services that are available to you if you are feeling at any time overwhelmed. Our team, and remember do contact us at graduatefunding.gps@mcgill.ca, including your McGill ID number. We ask that you please do not contact us through our personal inboxes. They are only our second. Really, at the end of the day, this is when we get a chance to see if any of our friends had anything to say to us, because the whole team lives in graduate funding inbox. So with that, just want to once again reiterate, welcome, and please enjoy your time here at McGill.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
So, Faxon, we have an invited speaker.
Yeah.
Leah is going to talk to us now.
Okay, great.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leah Dalgoy, and I'm the local wellness advisor for the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. I'm just going to load my presentation here. One sec. Okay. Are you seeing the cover page there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so my purpose here is really twofold. My first purpose in presenting to you is to just do a little bit of psychoeducation around like health and mental health and wellness. Usually the beginning of the year is a good time to kind of orient people to their own skills, their own resilience around mental health, and to sort of plant some seeds that will percolate, and then, should they become relevant to you as we move into the year, you'll perhaps think back on the presentation and be like, oh yeah, this thing, maybe I should, make some changes for myself or reach out for some support. And the other purpose of my being here is to orient you to the health, physical and mental health resources that you have available to you at McGill. So, we always start our presentations at the Wellness Hub with a land acknowledgement. McGill University is located on land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations. I like to share, hold on, I'm just going to stop my share for a second here. I like to share with people either a resource for learning more about the Indigenous land that we work and study on, or today, what I've been sharing in orientation is a link to the powwow, which is happening at McGill on the 22nd of September. It's nice to share a resource or a way to learn more in the spirit of reconciliation. And so here's a link to McGill's powwow, which, if you haven't gone, is really an amazing, beautiful event. And there's also other events happening around Indigenous initiatives in the month of September. So I would encourage you to check those out. And now I'll go back into my presentation here. Will I though? There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so this is the wellness wheel that we use at the Student Wellness Hub. I like to share it because I find it provides like a very concrete example of the different facets of wellness, different ways that we can think about wellness. Often when I see students one-on-one, and, they can sometimes share that they're really struggling around, feeling of belonging, balance in their lives. They're in the lab for so many hours in the week, and they're feeling really down, really depressed, and having trouble with their sort of emotional state of being. And then when we kind of get into it, there's a question about, is this a clinical presentation of depression, or is there something else kind of going on for the student that's either a situation of very difficult sort of situational stress, or something going on in their family, or sometimes even just feelings of homesickness can really, show up as the same sort of symptoms that we would consider to be, depression. And so, I share this with you as just a resource to think about, and to think about within these quadrants, which of these areas of your life do you feel like you're currently nurturing? Which are maybe, areas of wellness that are maybe a bit neglected? And, out of these, where would you like to put your energy, your limited time that you have in grad school in terms of, building your resilience and your wellness? These are the most commonly neglected needs that we see at the Wellness Hub. And, it can be good, if you're struggling to just like check in with yourself, when was the last time that I, ate something green or saw my best friend, or, am I staying up too late? What's going on with these kind of foundational aspects of my wellness, and just, check in with yourself to see what's doing. And this is a slide about, when you might want to consider reaching out for more support. I like to make this distinction between stress and distress. So, stress can be a good thing for us in our lives. Actually, we need stress, otherwise we get bored and get depressed. But when it tips over into distress is where, we should start kind of cluing in that something may be up. And that distress may look like, showing up at the lab 3 hours late on a regular basis, isolating yourself from the people who know you and love you and care about you, having trouble with, paying your rent or getting out of bed, or, even just feeling like unmotivated around your work, all of that stuff. If you're usually a person that derives a lot of energy from, engaging in your work in your PhD, and suddenly you're completely disinterested, that's a clue for you that something maybe is up, and you may want to reach out for some more support. I like to say here too that, students should feel free to reach out to me, or to any of the resources that I'm about to share with you. Even if you're just, struggling a little bit, you don't need to be in a moment of like profound suffering to reach out and get some support from the resources that exist for you. I would like to see you before you're at risk of going on a medical leave, for example. There's a lot that we can do, to make it possible for you to keep working, keep studying, and, to get some more support so that you can enjoy and profit from, the experience of being in graduate school. So here are some of the main resources that exist for you at McGill. The first here is Access Advisors. These are mental health clinicians. They're social workers and guidance counselors, and that's the training of our Access Advisors. They offer like a single session, wellness appointment. And their appointments are fairly easy to come by, because there's new ones that are added every day, and every 24 hours there's a new set of appointments that are posted. Those are bookable online. That can be a good place to or a good resource for you to get started, or to just connect with somebody around, sometimes a single session is enough to kind of get someone back on track, or, they can help answer questions about system navigation. Anyway, they're great. We also have local wellness advisors. So that's me. I work in a team of about 18 local wellness advisors. We're split up between faculties and areas. So usually students qualify for at least 2. You would qualify because I'm the dedicated resource for our faculty, but we also have a local wellness advisor that works with graduate students. We have a local wellness advisor that works with international students, with students from BIPOC communities, one that serves the Black community specifically. So, generally speaking, people fit into at least a couple of boxes for the local wellness advisor catchments. Our appointments are also booked online, and when I finish presenting, I'm going to put a link in the chat to my booking page. They just redid the Hub website. I'm finding it's a bit buried, our booking page, so I want to give that to you so you can bookmark it and have it handy. And my sessions book out about 3 weeks in advance. Generally speaking, you can get an appointment within about 3 weeks, and sometimes even sooner than that. We also have counselors and sexologists that work at the Hub. Those appointments are booked by calling the Hub currently. And the model that they work with is similar to ours. They're kind of goal-oriented sessions. The counselors and sexologists are all trained psychotherapists. And so, they'll see a student once and decide together, do we see each other again? In a few weeks. They work in that kind of model, sort of one at a time appointments, usually with a couple, 2 to 3 weeks in terms of an interval. And then we also have psychiatrists at the Hub, and those are booked with a referral from a GP, either a GP at the hub or a Canadian GP can refer to our psychiatrists. Okay, so I wanted to bring your attention to this resource, which is called Keep Me Safe. This is like an after hours resource that you have available for you as students at McGill. It's app based, so you download the app and put in your information, your McGill email address, and then the support offered by Keep Me Safe is by phone, primarily by phone and by text. They do have the possibility of booking in-person sessions as well, and this is really like it's sort of like a crisis resource in that it's available after hours, but also sometimes there is a little bit of a wait time before you get a counselor on the phone. So it's after hours, but sometimes there can be a wait of half an hour or an hour before there's somebody available to speak with you. I wanted to just say that I recently had to call Keep Me Safe for a student, and I was surprised that there was a wait time. I had thought that somebody would pick up right away, but that was I wanted to share that experience with you. Okay. Now, in terms of physical health resources that we have at the hub, these are the clinicians that we have on staff. So we have doctors and nurses and dietitians, as well as a lab. Most of these disciplines are booked by calling the hub. To book a doctor's appointment, you call at 8:30 in the morning and you book an appointment for same day or next day. That's how the service works. It's like an urgent care type model. Sometimes I hear from students that they have trouble getting through to someone at the hub, or that, by the time they get through on the line, the appointments are gone, something like that. And so I did also want to tell you about these resources that are available. These are telehealth resources for domestic students, your telehealth resources Dialogue, and for international students, your resources Maple. And then in Quebec, we also have a line that's staffed by nurses or by psychosocial workers, depending on whether it's InfoSante or InfoSocial. And you get it by calling 811. I've personally had really good experiences calling 811. There can be also a bit of a wait, but it can save you some trips to Emerge if you call 811 and you're able to kind of problem solve with the nurse, whether something can be treated at home or is an actual emergency that requires you to go to the hospital. I did want to draw your attention here also to the peer support that's offered by PGSS, by the Postgraduate Student Society. I think support offered by professionals is very important and serves an important purpose, but also support offered from students by students for students is very powerful. And so a lot of the peer support services offered at McGill or created by students are more undergrad facing, but this is one that's very specifically graduate student facing, so I wanted to put that on your radar. And then finally here, in terms of content, this is a slide just about the health promotion wing of the hub. We do a lot of health, like sort of population level support. Grad students tend to trend a little bit older. So I like to highlight here the fact that there's support for student caregivers, including a student caregiver support group that, offer support to students, that either have child care responsibilities or elder care responsibilities. And the other one I like to put on people's radar from here is the fact that we offer workshops at the hub. They're generally covering topics that are in high demand by students that are reflected in the one-on-one appointments by the counselors and by the local wellness advisors. So topics like coping with perfectionism, skills for strategic procrastination, getting sound sleep. I personally do one called The Science of Happiness, which is about increasing positive emotions. It's, coming from the field of positive psychology. And those workshops, you'll find them on the Hub website. I like to think of them as kind of like a low-hanging fruit because you register for them online. They're offered virtually. They're usually about an hour. And you turn on your camera for attendance, and then you can turn off your camera and just listen and, get some resources and ideas around managing anxiety, depression, etc. So I'll open the floor for questions. I did want to also just let you know this is the Hub social media handle, Healthier McGill, and that's where you'll see all sorts of information that's posted around health promotion and our events that we're hosting at the Hub. Okay, so I will stop my share. Does anybody have any questions about services at the Hub or healthcare? Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. I will, as I said, put those links in the chat. I'll put a link to Keep Me Safe as well as to my booking page so you can bookmark it. And I wish you well, as everyone has, with your studies. And don't be a stranger. I'm around. I'm here. Literally, I'm your dedicated resource that's here for you.
Thank you very much, Leah. That's very useful and
Great.
very helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Laura, can you skip the 2 slides? I think John covered the awards. So for the students, we just wanted to let you know that you have rights and responsibilities. And so these are the sites you can visit to know what your rights and responsibilities are. Next slide. So plagiarism. I think we all know what plagiarism is. And Lauren, Dr. Shalifo alluded to ChatGPT and all these generative AI that are coming, just to be careful. So we have zero tolerance for plagiarism. Next slide. The other thing we have zero tolerance is harassment. So for more information on harassment, we have a website which is titled It Takes All of Us. It's important that you are aware of these resources. We also have a mandatory online sexual violence education program for the entire McGill community. So those are important resources to know. Next slide. And there is ethics in research. So we don't do research willy-nilly. We have to understand that there are ethics in research that you should be aware of. And there are some details on these websites, and that it's important that we adhere to this conduct in research that stipulated by McGill and the international community. Next slide. So the president of the Graduate Student Society, Muskan Alad, has a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Foxen. So hello, everyone. So it's great to see new faces over Zoom. And as Dr. Foxen mentioned, I'm the president of the Student Council. So basically for the next couple of minutes, I will be just explaining what we do, the kind of activities we run, and any kind of support that you need. So on our next slide is the team of is our support team. It is our team to it is our support team to support you as students, both socially and academically, for which we hold social events and academic workshops so you can meet new people and have friends within the department. We also have academic workshops to improve your presentation skill and writing skills and so on, especially in grad school. So there are a number of positions available, as you can see on the slides, and we are hoping that new students will join us. And we are opening a call for nomination, and I think you have received an email already with the instruction with it. So just to give you the information, if you are really interested, please feel to contact us through the email mentioned below in the box with the information about yourself, your name, the student year, the name of your supervisor, and the position you are interested in. And I'm really hoping that a couple of you will join us. I'm from quite a while on the committee council, and it's a lot of fun, and I would be really hoping to make student society more active with all of your participation and bring new activities to the forefront for other students. So moving on to the next slide. There are many social and academic events, as I said. So this slide is basically on our academic sphere. One of our best events that I personally love is the EXXU Research Day, which gives students the opportunity to present their work and showcase their research to practice their presentation before going to national and international conferences. And also we have lots of workshops to help you fine-tune the presentation to make it in the best possible way and presentable. On more kind of a social side, on the next slide, there are many activities we do, and in COVID, we used to have lots of game nights which were on Zoom, but after post-COVID, there are many in-person activities like skating at the Old Port, shoe ski night, and so on. And I'm really hoping that I will get to meet you in person, face to face. And if you are in town, they are really fun activities to meet your peers and know each other and the department. Further, to give you some more contact information on how to stay updated on the events, we do have a very active Facebook and Instagram page where we do invite you to follow us through the channels. And we also have a Twitter page which you can follow. That being said, if you have any specific questions or any concerns and so on, you can email me specifically on my email, which is mentioned below. And also you can send it to ESDSS email, which I check regularly. So we will get back to you as soon as we can. And I highly encourage you to be in loop, to be included in all the fun activities and social events, and you don't miss out on it. So please do follow our channels. So also we have a committee for students advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion, which is to support and build a community for underrepresented, marginalized, and racialized students, as well as to educate society within academia and science. Also to implement actions to institutional change and to ensure procedures are put in place that allows for substantial change. Moving to another, we have a graduate health and wellness work group, which has a health, wellness, equity, and diversity representative position open. So the person representing the position will be a part of the council as well as included in the group. The role is specifically to be a point of contact for any questions or concern relating to health, wellness, equity, and diversity for all students and relaying the information further. If you are interested to apply, please send us your information to the below ESDSS email address mentioned. I really encourage everyone to apply. It's been a lot of fun, and I have been on a council for quite a while, and I would be happy to work with everyone, and welcome. So on the next slide, there is a short video of the McGill additional resources. Thank you.
Welcome to McGill, and congratulations to all of you who are starting your graduate degree. I'm Nicole, and I'm a PhD student in rehabilitation science in the Faculty of Medicine. I'm going to introduce the essential resources that McGill has to support your success throughout your graduate degree. In fact, there are so many resources that it can be hard to know where to look to find them. To make it easier for you, we've created a website that organizes essential resources for your success into 3 broad categories of academics, well-being and student life, and careers and professional development. The link to the website is mcgill.ca/first-year/graduate postdoctoral. On the website, select Resources for Success on the left-hand side of the menu. It will show a list of resources describing what they do and how you can contact them. I'm going to highlight some of the resources in each of these categories. When you first think about your success as a graduate student, you probably think about your academic work. Under the Academics tab, you'll find links to several resources to support you. Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies, or GPS, has essential information on funding opportunities as well as preparing and submitting your thesis. Through GPS, you can also access pd.education, which is an online platform that provides resources, interactive webinars, and tools to help graduate students progress in and complete their degree. Another McGill service to support you is the Office for Students with Disabilities, or OSD. If you have documented disabilities, mental health illness, chronic illnesses, or other impairments, whether they be permanent, temporary, or episodic, OSD can help you receive accommodations and support to meet your needs, including adaptive technology or connecting with a learning resources advisor. Under the Wellbeing and Student Life tab, you'll see a list of services offered to graduate students at McGill. Half of these services are offered by the university, and the other half are offered by student groups. The Student Wellness Hub is where you access different resources for health and wellness, including counseling services, physician appointments, and programming by local wellness advisors. There are links here to the Virtual Hub, which describe the remote services available. Campus Life and Engagement is here to help you acclimatize, settle in, and find the people and services you need. They offer different programming to help connect you to resources and the community here at McGill. Under this tab, you'll also find student-run associations that offer services to graduate students. It's important to know about the Postgraduate Student Society, or PGSS. PGSS advocates for you, graduate students and postdoctoral fellows, in meetings with the university. They also offer social opportunities, including virtual events and programming. Another student-led service is McGill Students Nightline, a confidential, anonymous, and non-judgmental active listening service. You can call if you need advice or just someone to talk to as you help work through whatever you're feeling. Although you're just starting your degree, you're probably also thinking about where it's going to take you after graduation and what kinds of doors it will open. Under the Careers and Professional Development tab, you'll find links for Career Planning Service, or CAPS, which offers individual career advising and workshops to prepare you for the academic or non-academic job market. CAPS also hosts the My Future website, where you can search for jobs and manage your career. You'll also find the link to Skill Sets, which offers over 200 professional development workshops and events every year specifically designed for graduate students. For example, there's Would You Fund It?, which helps you develop a winning fellowship application, as well as workshop series to strengthen leadership skills. These events are designed to help you succeed in both your academics and your career. Lastly, I want to highlight that GPS created MyPath, which can help you manage all three of those domains to have a meaningful experience at McGill. MyPath's mission is to help students and postdocs pursue their goals using an individual development plan, or an IDP. You can think of your IDP as a tailored roadmap that guides you from where you are now to where you want to be. So as you can see, wherever you're at in your trajectory as a graduate student, there are many resources that will guide and support your success here at McGill. I encourage you to learn more about these different resources at the website I just presented to you, mcgill.ca/first-year/graduate postdoctoral. I'd like to wish you a wonderful, successful, and enriching graduate experience here at McGill.
Oh, thank you very much, Muskan. Misha? Misha? Laura, next slide. So, are we gonna have breakout rooms? Thank you very much for all taking your time, everyone, and for listening. It's almost 1.5 hours. And so we are going to have breakout rooms. Laura is gonna create the breakout rooms. How much time do you need, Laura?
They're already created, they're open, so please, everybody, join first we invite the supervisors and the directors of the program to get in the room, and after that to the students.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.